Hello, everybody. This is Bill, and today I'm going to give you the can I or should I retire discussion. Here's the flow chart I've come up with. Yeah, so here's the retirement flow chart I've come up with, the nerd version. First of all, I want to just say right up front that this is not investment advice. It's not lifestyle advice. It's not retirement advice. Is just for entertainment, and hopefully you may find this kind of funny. So you need to identify what your living expenses are. What they probably are now, they're probably not going to change a lot in retirement. At least I don't see how it's going to do that, other than maybe some small incremental ways, like okay, I don't have to buy so many clothes for work or spend so much money commuting to and from work, and things associated with work. So anyway, this includes transportation, housing, food, taxes, insurances, healthcare, entertainment, other debts, stuff like that. And for me, this I'm tracking this carefully, and it's kind of scary because I have about a burn rate of $7,500 a month, and I don't really see how I'm going to easily reduce that significantly going into retirement, unless I move from my house and get rid of my housing debt. That would cut it down a lot, because my house, when you count the insurance, taxes, mortgage, and maintenance and repairs on it, it's about $4,100 a month for me here. So, yeah. Income, you got to figure out what your post-working income is going to be. So your likely sources would be Social Security. If you're 62 or over, 401k, you can use the 4% rule, investments and savings, side hustles. And then, of course, there's always the black, what do you may call it, dark horse in the room is Bitcoin. Michael Saylor says it's going to 13 million. If that happens, then basically all my money problems will be solved. It'll be life-changing. I was fascinated by this asset class, so I tried to model it myself. And my model, based on historic data, says it's not going to even go over 100K within my lifetime. So it just put this in perspective. Today, my model says Bitcoin should be worth just a little shy of $50,000 a coin. And in 10 years from now, it will be worth a little shy of $70,000 a coin. So that's just not life-changing for me, for the amount of Bitcoin I own. And I think the current price today is 57,000, so it's doing a bit better than my model, but it's not. Let's put it this way: when you're looking for factors of 10 or more, the model is not too far off. So anyway, if your future retirement income is less than your expenses, of course, the answer to this box is nope. And so you're back to work. So yeah, if your lifestyle is exceeding your post-retirement, post-working expenses, then it's a matter of, as they say in Seinfeld's Soup Nazi, they said, no retirement for you, come back, 1 year. That's sort of the case for me. I think I'll be in pretty good shape when I get my apartment building debt paid off, because that will, right now I'm basically no income from that because all that money goes to paying the debt down, but that will actually become a $5,000 a month positive cash flow for me. And the side hustle issue is going to be a total no-go monetizing that. I think it'll be impossible for someone like me to monetize a side hustle. So I'm just assuming that ain't going to happen. I told my financial advisor that too. So anyway, the next box you have to go through is what I call, am I talented enough? This one may seem weird to like everybody except me, but here's the question: is what are you going to retire to? I mean, everyone says, okay, you got all this time, you do all the things you want to do. So and of course, lots of things I'd like to do. And of course, the question is, am I good enough to do that? I guess I'd love to be a fitness model. That sounds like it'd be fun, or a professional athlete, or stuff like that. And let's put it this way, none of that's going to happen for me. Yeah, I'm just not good at. I'm just not good enough at this stuff. I don't even move my body very well. So, getting into the fitness business is it just isn't going to happen. The second box here is social participation. Will I be accepted into a group or something? And this is also a concern for me too, because as I say, I'm not really good enough to do a lot of social activities. It's not like I need to be the best. I just don't want to be the worst in an outlier sort of way, which seems often to be the case. So the few activities I do, this part is a another challenge for me. So I think about this. What am I going to do if I retire or when I retire that will keep me feeling fulfilled and purposeful? So, and then the third thing is that, as you notice in this box, I had a side hustle for making money. So the question is, how do you monitor, if you're needing that to retire, and like one YouTube channel called Retire Early 500K with Dwayne. I mean, he's getting most of his income from his YouTube channel, so he's strongly relying on the side hustle for his lifestyle. And anyway, the question is, can I monetize a side hustle, or maybe get another job, if you will? Here's the reality for me. Have never been able to get a job through the conventional ways people get a job, or monetize anything of my activities on my own. I mean, I got my job at JPL, but my father worked there, so he kind of gave me some inside track and helped me through this. I was just lucky, really. It's been a wonderful job, and I can't say enough good things about it. But here's the reality: I've just never really been able to get a job through the conventional ways of putting out resumes and interviews and things like that. So I would even just strike that. It just isn't happening. And I told my financial advisor that. I said, look, I don't, if possible, not have to go and start applying for jobs. I said, I just don't want to do that. I just don't think I can do that. And if that's the case, then maybe back up here, you're better off working. Here, there's me. So yeah, and there's a colleague at work. He's 70 years old. He's autistic like me, and he says he's never going to retire. And basically, he without going through a flow chart like this, I'm sure he's dealing with a lot of the same kinds of thoughts and issues I have. But let's say you say yes to this. You've got all these wonderful things you do. You're confident that you can make them fulfilling, and you can get the social connections you need, and so on. So down to this box is, do I dislike my work? And obviously I don't think that's going to be a binary question, in the sense that, I dislike my work 100% of the time, or I love it 100% of the time. I mean, I think I would probably say, okay, if you're disliking your work more than 40% of the time, then I would probably answer yes to this. And by the way, in that I dislike my work category, I even include commuting, because nobody likes to commute. I mean, I don't either, even though I don't really have that far to go to work, especially when I ride my bike to work. It's getting hard for me at my age. So let's say, okay, you work an 8-hour day. Let's say you take an hour for lunch. You probably like that hour, so that's probably doesn't count against you so much, because you're into eating, when people like to eat. Let's say you're spending 1 to 2 hours a day commuting back and from that work. So your work day now is probably 10 or 11 hours. And I would say that, let's just say 10, because math's easy. That hour you're spending commuting, you're probably hating every second of that. So you're already like at 10% of the time you're hating work. Then you can build from there. So obviously, if you answer yes to this question, then you could retire and become a YouTube star, like Buzz's Retirement Garage, or Retire Early 500K, or Otter's Retirement Corner, or Steve's Retirement Corner. Those guys are awesome, and they're having fun with YouTube. if you're liking your work, then you go nope, and you're back to working like me. That's me. And my job could be a really mixed bag. There's some parts I absolutely love. There's some parts I hate. And just early on, one frustration I'm going through right now at my workplace is that I posted a video about this a while back. I've come up with a cool way to measure magnetic field from our data. It's the first time it's ever done. And I was able to retrieve the magnetic field for a day of data, and I've set up a prototype. The bad part about it, it took like 2 to 3 months of computer processing to get the data out, to get this data out. So it's just not it's just not practical to do for the whole mission. We got 20 years of data. So now I know a much faster way to do it, so I got to go modify code I did not write, and it was written by some computer scientist like pro, who's he's actually on it's a Fortran language, he's actually on the Fortran committee, and I'm just having a hard time with it. Fortunately, the algorithm is very well documented, which I don't need, I don't need any help for that. I invented the algorithm that this program's using. I need, as I say, I don't need any help with that. Where I need the help is the computer sciencey thing, which is not at all documented. So he's got all these structures and so on and so forth, and all composed of substructures, and everything's pointers in there. I don't know if you know much about coding, but pointer doesn't tell you anything about the variable. It just tells you where in the memory ledger to start picking up data, and I am really, really confused. Yeah, sometimes I feel like my job is kind of like being a professional athlete. Say, when you're winning and doing awesome things, it's totally awesome. Like if you're a professional athlete on a winning team. I don't imagine being a professional athlete on a losing team where you're getting your butt kicked and you're humiliated. I imagine it probably sucks. And so that's kind of how I feel about my job. That's kind of how I feel about the moment right now. This sucks because I'm really having a hard time trying to understand all this computer code stuff. The guy who wrote all this stuff originally, he's been retired 10 years ago and is pretty much out of sight, out of life. So. But hey, luckily, so far my job's paying me to fail at this point. I am making some progress, but it's been brutally slow. So anyway, wish me luck, and yeah, I'm probably going to keep working for a while. Yeah.